All right, friends, it's time to give you loyal listeners a discount on protein powder. You may or may not know, but I launched my very first protein powder 2 years ago. It's a grass-fed beef isolate with only 3 ingredients: grass-fed beef, either organic cacao or organic vanilla, and organic monk fruit. Now, if you don't want any of the added flavor and sweeteners, you can also just get unflavored. And no matter what flavor you choose, you're getting over 23 grams of protein per scoop, which is going to keep you full and satisfied between meals. I love starting my day with a Fab4 smoothie and breaking my fast with that much protein. It makes a serious difference in my cravings and blood sugar balance the rest of the day, and I've seen it with my clients as well. Now, I never thought I'd own a product company, but when I got pregnant with Sebastian, I realized the majority of protein powders were chemically extracted or enzymatically extracted, and I wanted to use heat and water only. I wanted minimal ingredients because we don't need those emulsifiers, fillers, or added vitamins, minerals, and probiotics. All of those additions increase the chances that it's not going to work for your body, whether it be bloating, digestion issues. I just wanted pure, clean protein to keep you full and satisfied so you could build the most delicious Fab4 smoothie. And I have to say, I'm pretty proud of the flavor. If you take a look at our reviews on Amazon, you'll see 5-star reviews for flavor. And that is key, because if you don't love your Fab4 smoothie and you don't love drinking your protein powder, you're not going to do it. It won't become a habit, and it's consistency that outpaces everything. So if you're here and you're listening and you want to give our protein powder a try, use the code podcast5 for $5 off your order. And let me know if you love it. My favorite ways to apply this protein powder is in my Fab4 smoothie, making freezer fudge, making chocolate milk, making hot chocolate, and throwing the unflavored into all my kids' baked goods. So let me know how you use it. Let me know if you love it, and share this podcast deal with your friends. Hey guys, welcome back to the show. I'm so excited about today's guest. She's one of my favorite follows on Instagram. I feel like I'm a part of her family. Today's guest is Jeanette Ogden. She's a Southern California-based wellness and lifestyle influencer behind the account Shut the Kale Up. With over 350,000 followers, Jeanette shares her relatable approach to food, parenting, movement, and wellness. She's the mom of 2 young boys, and might I say, they are so freaking adorable. I can't get enough. And she keeps it real while opening up about the beauty and imperfections of life. I think you're one of the most vulnerable and open influencers on Instagram. And I know you get a lot of flack for that, Jeanette, but I want to personally give you a lot of juju vibes, accolades, like, thank you for being so raw and real. I know that when you open your life up, it comes with a lot of backlash, but you probably, I think, have people who really, just like me, are so obsessed with everything you do. So thanks for being on the show today.
No, thank you for having me. I am such a huge fan. I've been a fan since I can remember, and I am just so grateful and honored to be on your podcast. So thank you.
Yeah, well, I feel like you are the most, like I said, real and open influencer in the wellness space that I follow along with. And you're open about the history of how your blog started. And it was after disordered eating and coming back and recovering from that, which we talked a little bit before the podcast started. You're such a bright light, and it's a beacon of hope, because I look at you and I think there's no way that you had a disordered eating past. But can you talk about how you built your community through recovery and what that journey looked like for you?
Yeah, of course. So it literally feels like a lifetime ago, and it doesn't even feel like that was me, because it was such a different person. You know, I wanted control of some sort of thing, because I could never control anything that was happening in my life, with family struggles and, you know, working since I was 15 and trying to keep up with this persona that I thought needed to be perfect. You know, I feel like a lot of people can relate to that, because, you know, we're in a world, and especially more now, that like everyone's watching, everyone wants to know more, and everyone wants to share more. But back then I was very, very like shy and wouldn't talk about any struggles, anything that was going on in my reality. I was more so like, let me, you know, dress up and be fancy. And, you know, like, I just want people to see the surface of me. And it ate me up. I felt like I wanted to again, just create this Jeanette that everyone thought everything's fine with her, you know? And with my disordered eating habits, I didn't know what was going on. I was almost like, I kept thinking, okay, if I feel comfort from food, then that's a good thing, whatever. You know, I continued on that path where if I was stressed out, if I was anxious, if something was going on in my house, I would just go inside my room, and I had a lock on my door so that no one can come in because things were so intense at the house that I would literally just grab takeout, bring it inside, and I'd eat on my butt. And that became normal. That became a habit. And little did I know, it was like, that was my safe place where nothing else can, you know, can hurt me or bother me. And I was just completely alone. But I wouldn't talk about it with my friends. It was more like, okay, this is just, I was hiding this from everyone.
You felt it was shameful. Food was your levy.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And it was definitely my lovey. And after coming out of like a really, really awful relationship of like 7, 8 years, and obviously my mom not being there for me and my family, like my dad always worked. I mean, all the memories that I have of him is working and like maybe having like 3 days off for vacation time and spending time with us. But like, I was so alone and I had friends, but it just wasn't the same. And it was just hard to realize that I had an addiction to food. You know, I started to gain weight because of all the food that I was eating, and it became really uncomfortable for me. I didn't fit in my clothes anymore. And it wasn't even that like, I want to be thin. It was more like, wow, my clothes aren't fitting. It's hard for me to breathe because I was packing in so much food at a time that it hurt my body physically. Mm-hmm. And obviously mentally came afterwards, the shame, the embarrassment, are people going to even notice that I had that much food? So it was like a binging pattern, mm-hmm. but it didn't get to the extent of later on the road. I started getting on every single diet possible. I was doing juice cleanses. I was taking, basically poop pills so that I can, go to the bathroom. And it just became a regular thing, like the detox teas and the thises and the that's. And then I realized what was going on. And I was like, I can't do this to myself, like this is really, really bad. And I didn't think I could ever stop because I was so deep in it. And I had to have accountability. So I started talking about it, and I started going to like AA meetings for like addiction. And that basically was just like my aha moment where I was like, wow, this is really mental. It's not even about food. It's about like what's going on inside. And yeah, I had to change, but it was really, really hard. And I have to say, for anyone out there listening, there is hope. 1,000%. There is hope.
It's interesting that in looking back, it was starting to talk about it and find community, because I think what you're offering your boys that you didn't have growing up was that secure attachment, was that like safety parent that was like constantly always there to like pick you up, and you had to grow up really fast. And but what you're offering your audience and your community and everyone who follows along with you is this ability to change your past and create a new future that involves so much love and secure attachment for your boys that they'll know how to like work through issues, and to know that any problems that they have, it's okay to have issues, and that they can come to you first to talk about them. Like, it's so beautiful to watch, Jeanette. Like,
thank you.
It really is. Like, I can't tell you how inspiring it is. And I'm so sorry that you had such a struggle like that. I feel like, in my practice, I see so many young women who have gone through exactly what you've gone through. It's that eating in secret, or binging, or, eating to feel good. It does create that dopamine release and that comfort
But it's in finding, we all need to find different ways of comfort. So can you take me back to that first time that you went to an AA meeting? Were you going for alcohol at first, or were you going for food, or both, or how did it work out?
So I've never had I have drank in the past.
Yeah.
But it's never been a thing for me. Like, I actually despise alcohol, the smell, everything about it, just because my mom was an alcoholic for so many years. Mm-hmm. And I grew up smelling cigarettes and alcohol. That's literally like ingrained in my nose. And so every time I would drink or, have a drink, I would just be like, no, thank you. But the first time I went to AA it was for addiction. A girl at a church that I was going to, I had opened up to her. I don't know why. I think honestly it's because I didn't know her really well and she didn't know me. So I wanted someone to know, but like from afar.
Right.
I didn't
like a therapist.
Right.
You don't know anything about me, but I'm going to tell you my whole life story now.
Exactly. So listen, please. But that's kind of what happened. And she told me that there was like an addiction, type of AA meeting that was happening at the church. And she was like, I think you should go. I know that you don't have an addiction to alcohol or drugs, which is mainly, that's where most people go. But you do have another type of addiction, and it'd be good to just listen to other stories. Mm-hmm. And so I took her advice and I went by myself, and it was really, really embarrassing and shame. Like, I felt so many feelings, but again, no one knew who I was, and I felt comfort in that. And after hearing a lot of people's stories, mind you, I had been to AA meetings for my mom and my dad to just sit with them, so I have heard stories here and there, but this was so different because there was, people talking about addiction with alcohol, with drugs, shoplifting, so many other addictions that I was just like, wow, I can't, like, I would have never thought. And the second time around, I shared what I was going through. And, after sharing my story, people came up to me and they were like, wow, thank you so much. Like, you're the youngest one here, but I have to tell you that, like, you're so brave for sharing your story. And, addiction is really hard to kick, but you can totally do it. And coming from people who were way older and have more wisdom, mind you, they were addicts, but still, they're humans and we all make mistakes. We all go through struggles, and it made me feel so like hopeful. And so after that, I just, again, started working on myself, on my mental health. And that meant a lot of praying, a lot of time with friends, because I was always very isolated. And I think that's why now I don't like to be by myself. I do love alone time and quiet time, but I love to talk to people. It just makes me feel so full. And so that kind of was my practice in this journey, was just to move away from isolation and feeling the shame and it was just eating me up. Now I don't feel shame. I'm like, this is who I am. And I'm very grateful I went through that, because now I get to break this cycle that I was in. And that's a very difficult thing to break, because people, even my family, I'm full Mexican. Both my parents and my mom are Mexican, and everyone struggles with alcohol or just so many things. And I didn't want that for my family.
Well, it's been, like I said, it seems like a lifetime ago, and it seems like that could never be your reality. So, so many kudos to you, because it is committing and continuing to commit. And I feel like the further you get away from that young 15-year-old that is going to work on her own and getting takeout and being in her room, to who you are today, there's so much hope in your story, and there's so much positivity that you put out into the world. It's really beautiful to watch. Can you talk about how, after kind of building your community and talking about your story, what helped you get out of a restrictive mindset around food? And how did you start practicing that lifestyle in your everyday life?
So after I started going to AA meetings, I started practicing, like, I would literally make myself have like 2 days where I would eat something that would trigger me in the past. So I could never have a donut without eating a whole box of donuts, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so now I started to eat, like, more whole foods and not think about calories or portion control, rather just like, okay, let me look at the ingredients. And if I can pronounce the names, then I'm going to cook that or eat that and play with food. I remember like looking up health food blogs and like not necessarily health food blogs, but just like cooking blogs and trying to make recipes that had more whole ingredients. And I would use real ingredients for everything. And that's kind of how I started. And I started reading about these whole, like, vegetables and, different types of ingredients and what that does to our bodies. And I was just so intrigued with, wow, sweet potatoes and broccoli and Brussels sprouts, and you can make them so delicious. And I like found a new love for food. It wasn't just like, oh, well, this is going to make me skinny and this is what's going to make me healthy. No, it was more like, this is healing for my gut and my mind. And all of these things, you can benefit from eating real whole foods. I started cooking and I just found so much love in the kitchen. And obviously, after starting my blog, I felt like everything had already kind of like gone out the window with the whole restrictive eating and, binge eating mindset. But I don't know. I just really practiced, and it felt like it just happened overnight. I don't even remember when it clicked, Yeah. I just, again, remember thinking, okay, these 2 days, I'm going to have one donut. I'm going to go out with my fiance at the time. And we're going to go eat a burger. We're going to go eat this. We're going to go eat that. And, I didn't feel weird after eating these types of foods. It was just like, I'm enjoying this food with family, with friends, with my fiance, now husband. Like, it wasn't anything else. I wasn't thinking about what was in front of me. I was thinking about what I was talking about and how I was feeling with my family and friends. And I think that's where it changes. And now, I mean, right. It's not all about the food. If you focus on the food, you obviously can overthink it and start looking at your body and thinking where it went. But in reality, it's like, no, it's just enjoy it and continue to live your life with, your normal lifestyle, and it'll be fine.
I love that. I love that you brought in like eating food together with family and breaking bread together, because there is such a different mindset when it comes to celebrating with food when it's with family or with community. Yeah. One of the probably the most heartbreaking things for me is when I'm working with a client and they say that, they're sitting down at a table and they're with their best girlfriends. And maybe, nowadays with the pandemic, like, when are you sitting down with your friends to like have a meal? Few and far between. And so the heartbreaking thing for me is when people are sitting down together and there's so much anxiety around, like, well, what are people going to get for the appetizers? Are they going to order dessert? Is wine going to be on the table? How am I going to say no? What am I going to order? Overanalyzing the menu, making the order. And then the waiter walks away and they're like, I should have ordered this instead. It's like so many people grapple with that because there's so much health information of like what is best or perfect or what's toxic, which can create all this anxiety in someone's life. And so I love that you mentioned the donut, because that is not going to kill you. It's a celebration over like, hey, it's a Sunday or a Saturday morning for our family, and this is what we do. And I can just have one and celebrate and go right back into like my salmon arugula sweet potato fries that always look delicious. Like
no, totally.
So,
go ahead.
No, I want to know this. You're the expert in this. I've seen you do it, and so I want people to know it's possible.
Yeah, no, but when you were talking about the overanalyzing the menu, I would do that. And it would just be like, wow, I'm not even thinking about who I'm going to go with and enjoy this meal. I'm literally just thinking about what I'm going to get. How can I burn it off? what am I going to have to do to, steer away from the dessert and the this and the that and the bread? And it's like now, obviously not right now, but before the pandemic, like I don't even think about those things. And it's a beautiful way to live, because as soon as you let go of that fear, because it's truly fear of, it might be gaining weight, not feeling your best, not meeting your goals. And hey, all of those things are very valid. But as long as you let go of that for just, that little bit, and not feel shame afterwards, I feel like it just makes such a difference, because you actually get to live and not restrict yourself, because you're the only one restricting yourself from living your true happiness.
True. Yeah. And there's so much, you look at like how hard it is on your body just to have all that stress anyways, like wrapped up in that stress and that fear that you're talking about. It's true. I think consistency over time and what I've seen you do is get excited and love the kitchen and making food. And when you get consistent with making food at home and eating food at home, when you do the donuts or you do go out to the restaurant and the bread bowl comes out first, like it isn't like, oh my God, I've been eating horribly and this is going to ruin everything. You see that it's just your body's capable of handling all of it.
Yeah, it really is.
It's so beautiful. Well, let's talk about how your like approach to Instagram has changed since you started, and sort of what your day-to-day looks like in sharing your life and your family.
Well, it's changed a whole lot since, from when I first started Instagram. And it's been difficult to navigate right now, to be completely honest. And while it used to be like such a happy, creative place, I feel like it's kind of steered in a different direction. And I'm still trying to learn and figure it out, not just for me, but for my community, because I feel like my community still wants to see all the things that I was doing before. But with the pandemic and just trying to figure out how to share life now, it's so hard. You get backlash for any little thing, whether you're walking outside, whether you do go grocery shopping, you don't go grocery shopping, whether you get takeout, whether you don't, like, you can't make everyone happy. And I've never been that person. Well, now, ever since I started, to make people, like everyone happy, I just try to make myself and my family happy. It's still so difficult. So I'm just trying to navigate through all of this and do what I think is right. But I love to share. I feel like I love to overshare, only because it just makes me feel like, hey, like, look what we're doing. It's so fun and so normal. I look at these fashion bloggers or like other influencers and think, wow, their lives are so lavish. And I'm over here doing laundry every day. I'm such a clean freak. So I'm constantly cleaning the house. Seriously. And my friends make fun of me because they're like, if you were to post how you vacuum, I feel like people would actually laugh, because they're like, I'm constantly like this, instead of just like nicely just going through the house.
But you're like scrubbing with your Dyson.
Oh yeah. I'm just like, get it out.
Great.
But with, life with 2 kids, it's messy. It's chaotic, but it's so fun. And I truly enjoy where I'm at right now. And while I do share less of my life for obvious reasons, just, trying to keep it safe, safe and friendly for everyone, I still love what I share. And it makes me happy, brings me so much joy.
Well, you definitely share the real sides of life, like laundry, vacuuming, issues with your kids, like the funny stuff they say. Like it's real life. And I think if anyone is thinking about having children, they should follow you, because it will make their ovaries hurt. For sure.
Well, thank you.
Yeah. Well, let's talk a little bit about motherhood, because I think you do it with grace. What are your favorite parts about motherhood, and what do you feel like are some of the hard moments?
My favorite moments is for sure watching them grow up. And it's also like painful to watch them grow up, because I just want them to stay little, but I do savor every moment with them. I feel like lately I've been so emotional with Elliot, because he's growing up so fast. And I like look back a year ago, he was still like he had that baby talk, you know, that sweet baby voice. And now it's so different. Like he's growing up, he's conversating. He's just the sweetest. He's really the sweetest angel. And I've just been feeling so emotional with him. And with Cole, it's like, I feel like he's grown up totally like so fast. The second always,
He has a big brother.
Oh yeah, big time. And he wants to do everything that brother does. So I'm like now learning like how different they are, you know? I mean, I knew that from the beginning, but they are two completely different humans. One's on this side, the other one's on like the other opposite end of the side, you know? And, but it's so cool. And I feel so blessed to have two kids. As you know, like it's the coolest thing on earth.
It's a madhouse, but it's really sweet to watch the boys together. And I feel exactly how you feel. And Dash is only 2 years and 4 months, but I like had
cute.
I had like a taping day yesterday. I was like doing some videos at my parents' house, which is like my studio. And I missed the whole day with Bash, you know, and I got home literally to like read 2 books and like rub his back. And then I like got in bed and Chris was like, "What's wrong?" And I just started crying. I'm like so emotional. I'm like, I literally missed a whole day, and like he's growing up so fast. And I can only imagine like how hard it is. I think the pandemic is a blessing for a lot of moms, even though they you know, it's crazy and homeschool and Zoom and the office would be easier. But I just think like if they have little ones, like how nice it is to, even though you feel crazy and like a ping pong ball, to like walk into your kitchen and fill up your coffee and to like have a 2-minute conversation with your kid. Like,
yeah,
those are priceless moments for people that don't have the flexibility that we have to like be around our kids as much.
For sure. In the beginning, I was like, gosh, this is insane. Like, I just want to break, you know, from the kids and my husband. Yeah. But like, now it's just like, it really is. Like, I look back, it's been a year. It's almost been a year. And I have grown so much. And it was very challenging, but it was great. Awesome. It was.
So what are some of the hard moments? Because you are the realist influencer, wellness influencer. What do you feel like? What do you feel like are hard moments for you, or places where you want to grow as a mom?
I mean, as a mom, like as a human, we always critique ourselves more than anyone else ever would. But right now, I'm nursing Cole, and he sleeps in our bed, and same with Elliot, you know, when he was younger for 3 whole years. And now that he sleeps in his bed and Cole sleeps with us, it's just hard to like give Elliot the same amount of attention. And he's also like doing, you know, homeschooling and all these things. And I literally ask every other day, like, hey, do you feel like you're getting enough time with me? How can I be a better mom to you? You know, and he's just like, oh, well, you have to give Cole Chi-Chi, which is what we call milk. And, you know, I just feel like I don't give enough attention to Elliot when I know I do, but it's just, I can't give them the same amount of attention right now. And it's hard. It's a hard thing for me because he's my first. And there's just like this really crazy connection with him, but also with Cole. It's just so different. And, that's where I struggle with the most, is making sure that he knows that I love him, you know, even though I don't give him boob and like, you know, sleep with him and hang out with him all day. And then another thing I would say is probably like, while I do love sharing their lives on Instagram, I also feel like there's been a lot of like critique in the past with Elliot and how he didn't talk so soon.
Please.
And it did affect me, you know, it affected me. And all I wanted him to do was to talk, but he took his time, and I know nothing was wrong, but those comments and like messages really affected me. And now that I look back, I'm like, I just wish I could go back and have him not speak, because now he talks like a pro. You know, I knew that would happen, but it almost felt like Instagram robbed me of enjoying him being a baby.
Yeah.
because regardless of him being a toddler and having like delays, quote unquote, he was just taking his time. Not everyone is the same, and not everyone has to talk at one and have a handful of words. Like Cole is now talking, and I'm just like, please stop.
Mute button.
Yeah. Like, I need you to not talk till you're 4,
Yeah.
And so those are my hardest time. And Cole is just he's a fireball.
Yeah.
So it's just hard to like keep him alive. Because he's constantly.
I had that as my first child. You're like, good God, I need a punch card for the ER. Can I get a discount? I've been here too many times.
Oh man, it's chaotic. So I'm just trying to keep him alive.
I love it. You know what? I think what I heard you say and what I'm sure so many moms listening feel is that comparison. Like it happens when especially when you have a platform like yours on Instagram where people feel like they can say whatever they want from behind their phone or their computer or wherever they're looking at Instagram, and they forget that there's a person and a family on the other side that's just like them, trying to be like up at night reading mommy blogs or like trying to educate themselves on how to get their kid to talk or like how to get their kid to walk or, and just, we're all just trying to do our best. And again, it's like that shame and guilt of like, are we giving them enough attention? Are we there for them enough? And to have people like tear you down for your child's developmental milestones is heartbreaking. And I think so many moms deal with that, especially I remember thinking about mommy and me and sitting in a circle when we could all get together when I would take Bash. And everyone was worried about like, was their kid sleeping through the night? Were they rolling over? Like, did they, for us, it's like, I dealt with Bash's eczema and I'm like, I am a GD holistic nutritionist here, friends. Like, if I can't figure out my kid's gut, like there's got to be something wrong with me. Like, you're hard on yourselves for all these different reasons. And it does, it totally steals the joy of being their parent and just watching them evolve and grow out of things and heal or whatever it is that people are going through. But you feel like it's a reflection on you as a human. And I love that you said that because there are so many moms out there that I'm sure are listening that are first-time moms. And I think the message and the moral of your story is like, have grace with yourself and don't let your journey try to stop the comparison because they're going to go to college without a passy, without diapers. They're going to be able to write a 5-paragraph essay, and if they're not, they're going to teach you to be a better person because of it, probably.
Absolutely. And I learned that from Elliot for sure. The whole not sleep training and getting backlash on that, nursing him till he's 3 and not talking. And, he is the most secure human. If you ever, like, whenever you get to meet him, you'll see that he is just so outgoing, talks to everyone, he's like really articulate with his words. And he was able to one day say, no boob, one day say, I want to sleep in my bed. Like, I didn't have to do anything, which was crazy. But like, again, every kid is so different. And I don't expect Cole to be the same. And that's, we'll figure it out when we get there. But I wish I would have just enjoyed the time where he didn't talk, where he was just telling me where to go with his little finger, or like, you understand your child and how they communicate. So yeah, to all the moms out there, just enjoy every second. Unless you really feel something is up, then that mom intuition is so strong, and just go with that. But give yourself grace for sure.
You followed your mom intuition from the very start. It feels like from when you were pregnant and decided to have home births with your children, to taking them to acupuncture, using alternative medicine, like getting them involved in like kid yoga. Like it's really beautiful to see. Can you tell us about before Elliot was born and making the decision to have your children at home and use like a midwife and a doula?
Yeah. So I don't know if I've ever shared this before, but now I'm just more open to talk about it because it's been so long and no one can give me shit for it. But basically, when I got pregnant, it was literally 3 months after we got married, and we were living paycheck to paycheck. It was very, very hard. And, we didn't have medical insurance. And, when I got pregnant, like we didn't qualify for Medi-Cal, but also like Obamacare was really, really expensive, and it was just too much. So we just didn't have insurance, and we went the easier route to find a midwife. And it costs, way less than going to a hospital. And we would figure out the insurance before obviously Elliot was born. So that's kind of why we went the natural route. I obviously, since I could remember, I was like, I'm going to get an epidural. I'm going to be at the hospital. I would much rather get a C-section, all these things.
Oh my gosh.
Because my mom, like, I'm a C-section baby. I was like, nothing's wrong with me, like things like that. And hey, every birth story, every birth plan that a mom gets to choose or is rerouted to is their story. And I feel like they should be proud. Right? Because I feel like there's just so much shame in motherhood, whether you choose to do this, whether you choose to do that. Why can't we just coexist? So that's why we went the route that we did. And after finding out that Elliot was breech in my belly for a very long time, but the midwives never caught it, I was told at 38 weeks that Elliot had flipped. But when I went to go see my doula actually found a guy, because we were like, okay, C-sections are so expensive. And again, we were literally living paycheck to paycheck. We could not afford, there was months where we couldn't afford our midwife appointments. And, AJ had to put it on his credit card or whatever. And we had just been like debt free. And it was just a very, very hard time. And so my doula was like, well, if you planned on having a natural birth, we can still do it with this specialist OB in LA. We can see if he'd take you to still do a natural, birth at home. And I was like, well, I don't want to have a home birth for my first birth. I want to have it at a birth center, And I was just freaking out about that. I never wanted a home birth. And after meeting with, his name's Dr. Fishbein, he's like an OG OB.
He's famous. Yeah.
He really is. And he's an angel, such an angel. After meeting with him, I felt empowered to have a breech home birth. And, he told us that we could pay him a little later, and he just wants me to feel safe. And he wanted me to feel empowered by this birth. So, literally I met him on a Friday. He came over on a Monday to check me and at my house. And he was like, wow, you're going to give birth any day now. And I was like, no, I'm not. I still have another week. And most firstborns are late. So I feel like I'm not going to see you later. I will see you in a few weeks. Okay. And, he was like, I'll give you 2 days. And literally Wednesday night, I was like full blown contractions, freaking out. And, Thursday morning, I had my boy breech. I pushed for 2 hours. It was insane, intense. I don't know how I did that. I really don't, but it was all mental. And I'm so grateful that I was able to experience that.
I love it. Look at that. What would be like the silver lining of your struggle was this empowering, life-changing moment of a home birth, and with someone who made you feel safe. I think that's so important when it comes to making the decision to be at home, is to have a team of people where you feel like they've got me.
Yeah, it really felt that way. But, when I got pregnant, I knew like, okay, my body is literally created to birth this baby anywhere, and while I had so much anxiety leading up to it, I knew that moment when I started contracting what was going on. And I knew that I had the power to relax, to stay focused. It was truly a mental thing, truly. And it was so awesome.
Did you do anything to prepare mentally for that?
Other than like teaching yoga and mentally feeling really strong, since overcoming, these obstacles in life that life just threw at me. Nothing else. I mean, I did hypno babies, but that went out the window as soon as the pain started coming through, I was like, there's no way I could hold my breath. There's no way I could breathe that way, Yeah, it was really funny because the whole time I was like, hypno babies, can you please give me a refund? Because this isn't working.
Yeah. I actually did hypno birthing like practice before Bash too. And it was the same experience. I like kind of went into, I couldn't even like access those support tools in the moment, but I know it's worked
Not
well
even
for other people. Like I think Brandy Malloy was someone who I like talked to before Bash, and she did hypno babies. So I was like, okay, I'm going to do it because you had this amazing birth planner birth, your first birth in like 5 hours or something, Meanwhile, I'm like 3 days later, I have a kid and he is not even at this hospital. It's crazy. You're exactly right. Everyone's story is different, and it gives you every struggle. Look at your struggles as these silver linings that have come through for you, like the strength, the resilience, the confidence that you have in yourself to like get through those tough times and to really overcome, have given you these like beautiful gifts, like beautiful at-home births, like being able to feed your family just the most decadent whole food meals, and really like kind of come into yourself and into your body. I'm sure when you were going through the disordered eating, activity and working out was part of that. How has your relationship with movement changed from when you first started your blog to what it is now as a mom of 2 boys?
It's so different. I barely get to move now. I wake up really early in the morning, which like I'm trying to sleep more because I know that it's good for our health and my circadian rhythm and all that stuff, tapping into that. But like, I also want to move. I want to feel strong physically and also like mentally when I'm working out, I feel mentally strong. And after Cole, it's just very difficult. And since we bed share, like I literally have to sneak out and before he wakes up. But if I don't wake up early in the morning, I don't end up moving, unless I'm taking both boys in the stroller, walking down, the street. But like, it's constantly like Elliot will say, are we done? Can we go back home? I want to jump on my trampoline. Can we do this? Mom, can we just go to the ecology center? Can we go here? Can we go there? And I'm just like, Elliot, can we just turn our minds off and relax, look at the sky? And without snacks, I wouldn't be able to go on these walks, but like, they're so fun. I know. I literally bring so many snacks for them to just chew and just look at the scene.
Yeah. So let's talk about these early morning workouts because I can totally relate to that now with 2. It's sort of man on man around here. Yeah. And if someone is taking over both of them at the same time, so one of us can get like an hour of something in, it is still really hectic. So,
oh yeah.
Like Chris is with the boys at the park right now. And there is a chance that Toshin freaks out and needs milk and he comes hauling butt back into the driveway and I gotta go. There's a small chance of that, but
oh yeah, always.
Let's talk about these early morning workouts. What's keeping you motivated? What are your favorite ways to move right now? I'm literally picturing you like sliding like a spy out of your bed. Yeah. just like off the mattress onto the ground, army crawling to your closet. Like,
that's exactly it. I literally army crawl to our guest bedroom because that's where I lay out my workout clothes and I brush my teeth in the kids' bathroom so that no one listens, here. Yeah. And I have my bag ready. So I literally like just sneak out, get dressed, make my tea and head out the door. Lately, since gyms are open now here, I've been going 2 to 3 times a week to this gym where I do HIIT exercises. It's what I used to do before the pandemic. And so I do that. And then I also love to walk. Walking has been mentally just rejuvenating and just so freeing. I love being outside in the sunshine, walking. I feel really grateful that we get to live in California, in Southern California, where it's mostly sunny. And, it's just really relaxing. I also have a Peloton, which I kind of got burnt out on.
Mm-hmm.
So I've been kind of taking a break, but I was on my bike, 3 to 4 times a week before the gym opened.
Yeah.
And now maybe once a week.
Yeah. Well, you have your community and you love people. So it makes sense that you like need that energy around you and you enjoy that so much more.
Yeah. It just makes me feel normal,
Mm-hmm.
like pre all of this, it just makes me feel like a little bit less, just worried about life or,
Yeah. The heaviness of
change.
2020 is definitely dragged into 2021. And I think that physical activity, getting outside, connecting with your quarantine or whatever people are calling it right now is just so important for mental health. Like really.
Oh yeah.
I worry
Life-giving.
Yeah. Life-giving for sure. Let's talk about some of those alternative medicine practices that you subscribe to, that you have as a part of your life, because it's really fun to see that it can be easily a part of your whole family's life. So what are some of your favorites and favorite wellness practices?
Well, we all go to the chiropractor 3 days a week. We have a membership. So
wow, that's awesome.
So we get to go 2 to 3 times a week. I go to two different people because one does craniosacral therapy, which I'm a huge fan of after having Cole. His vagus nerve was blocked from being in my pelvis for too long. And that was what was causing colic. Because everyone has their own, thoughts and opinions, but I just wondered, how does this fresh new baby have colic if all he's drinking is my milk? And, how does colic even exist? I wanted answers and I didn't want just like a prescription. I wanted to get down to the root of the cause of his belly aches. And it was the vagus nerve connects all the way to the gut. And I'm so lucky to have resources. I was going to a chiropractor, to a different I go around when it comes to chiropractors, but this girl who literally just is a pro at pregnancy chiropractic pregnancy.
Yeah.
Whatever you want to call it. But she recommended me Luca, a craniosacral therapist that I love so much, that was able to work on Cole when he was born because of the symptoms that he was having. And I also had to go to a functional doctor to get testing done on my gut. And, I got muscle tested, blood work done, and eggs were one of the cause of him having really, really bad stomach pains. So craniosacral therapy with chiro and, obviously getting rid of eggs and dairy was a really huge thing for his belly.
Yeah.
And it went away. So I definitely subscribe to those things because I've seen how powerful and impactful they are, and how, it was like a light switch. Like, wow, my baby is not screaming.
Yeah.
This is awesome.
Yeah.
It took a month. But I'm very grateful that we were able to, again, have those resources, have the money to be able to pay for these things because they're expensive. I love acupuncture. I swear on it.
Just like a calming practice for you? Or do you feel like you meditate during it? Or does it energize you?
It's like moving energy through me. It almost feels like, I have a lot of staggered energy in my mind, my heart, and in my belly that I feel like it just, like, as soon as I'm on the table, I fall asleep, and it like, I wake up feeling like, wow, all of these emotions, all these feelings are moved in outside of my body, and it feels really, really great. And it also has done wonders for me for my period. I did it all through pregnancy, which is really awesome. So yeah, it's helped with a lot of things.
I love that. What are some daily practices that you subscribe to that you can make at home, do at home, little like wellness hacks? What are your biohacking favorites?
Well, I love to dry brush. I just feel like, energized as soon as I do it, and it's supposed to move the lymph, and you literally just need a little brush and that's it. You do it, any time of the day. I usually do it either in the mornings or right before bath time with the boys. Um, I love to move my body. So getting sunshine at least 20 minutes, which we get way more than that, but like getting sunshine, moving your body, going outside, that's how I meditate most of the time. And then, leaving your phone somewhere where you don't see it and just enjoying what you're doing, whether it's working, whether it's being with your kids, whether it's being outside and walking, not taking your phone, watching a show, anything that doesn't require you to have your phone on your hand is one of my biggest ones. And then sleeping, it's free.
Yeah.
You sleep. I've been trying my best to get 7 hours of sleep. It's a little hard with Cole waking up in the middle of the night still. But, I look at it as he needs my milk and that's okay. And this is only temporary, but I'm trying to get to bed at least an hour before like usual, my usual bedtime, so that I can get like an extra hour of that like nice little sleep.
So good for you. So good.
Yeah.
Well, let's talk, because I know your job requires you to be on your phone and to take it seriously, because it is your income stream as well.
Yeah.
It's like you've created this. You're an entrepreneur. You've created your job out of thin air with the internet
Yeah,
and a website.
It's crazy.
So let's talk about how you stay consistent with your brand partners and with blogging and with sharing. What keeps you motivated to stay consistent? Do you follow a schedule? How does it work for you?
So for me, it's very intuitive. I feel like my whole life is very intuitive. With my blog, it's not so much consistent. I'm not on it very often because I feel like I give so much to my schedule with the boys. Like I don't have a nanny, my mom helps me a few hours a day so I can get my work done. But for the most part, I'm with my boys. And AJ is now working at outside of the home and is gone. He works in San Diego. So like he's gone from like 8 a.m. to 6:30, 7 p.m. Wow. And it's hard. It's very difficult to stay consistent. But to be honest, like I'm on my phone maybe 4 or 5 hours a day, which for a lot of people, that's a lot. But for like some of my friends that don't have kids and like, are working and stuff, we've compared and I'm like, you're on your phone 9 hours. Yeah. Like that's so much. But, I just try to keep it at like 3, 4, sometimes 5 when it's like a very, very busy work week and I want to share a lot. But it for the most part is very, very intuitive. I don't have a posting schedule or anything like that. Also my partners that I've partnered with it's so awesome because I've always been the type of influencer that buys her stuff. I don't ask for free product. I don't message people and say, hey, Kelly, can I have your protein?
I know, you bought my protein powder and then posted about it. And I was like, what?
I love being able to support. And if I can afford it, then I can start sharing it and like, doing those types of things. I just look at it as I've struggled so much. And when I really didn't have anything, I still didn't ask for anything, but I don't need it. Other people do need it. So how about you give it to other people that actually need it? I look at it like that.
I love that.
So, I've been supporting, certain brands for so long, and up until like 2020, 2021, they've been, approaching me saying, hey, we have budget now. Do you want to work with us? Like Once Upon a Farm, I've been buying their pouches for years and they finally wanted me to post about them. And I'm like, easy, I post about you guys all the time. So it's like little things like that I've been really grateful for. Like brands now want to pay me for something that I've been promoting for years. That's awesome. And, like partners like Adidas and Dyson, I'm very grateful for them because I Like it's, you know, our contract is for like, usually it's a year. And I think that's awesome because first of all, Adidas is so rad.
So rad.
I was honored. I literally cried when I got the phone call the first time. And then the second time I was just like, over the moon. I was just like, wow, this is so awesome because in 2020, I felt like I was off my game. A lot of people were, but a lot of people weren't, you know? Mm-hmm. And I felt so down on myself thinking like, this is it for me. I don't think I want to do this anymore. I don't feel motivated to work or post anything. It feels weird. This world is weird.
Yeah.
And then AJ was like, dude, guess who reached out? And I was like, Adidas, are you kidding me? And then I felt like, okay, I haven't lost it. Like I feel motivated, you know? Yeah. It truly feels that way, even with the smallest thing. And I'm not saying that this is a small thing. I love Adidas and that's a huge thing, but it's like the little things that keep me really motivated. And my partners are, I mean, truly such a blessing. And I will only work with brands that I absolutely love still, even to this day. And while I do have more partners because they're now able to pay me and like, I'm like, yeah, I've been using your product for 4 years. You know, I feel really lucky to be able to have this business because all I'm doing is saving up for a house and for my kids to go to school and to have activities to do.
Same. Well, I look at you and I think if anyone is trying to be an influencer or trying to have brand partners, you are the perfect example of how to do that in a very authentic way, which is you're talking about brands that you love for free. You're putting in the equity into those brands because you're like, hey, I'm feeding my kids Once Upon a Farm pouches, or I'm using this Dyson vacuum and my kids, I'm obsessed. Yeah. My kids are obsessed. I love my Adidas shoes. Like I just got Adidas shoes for Christmas. That was like, I like loved it. They're like so chic, right? But you talk about these brands and you are open about what you're using in your house and they look at the history and they're like, she talked about us this day and that day, and she tagged us this day and that day. And it just makes sense to then come together in an authentic and long-term way. I think when you think about job security as an influencer, you don't want these one-off deals of like, hey, I got to talk about this one thing for 5 minutes for X number of dollars. What you're doing is diluting your message versus what you're doing, which is saying like, hey, look, like I've been using Vital Proteins forever. And by the way, I just came out with this like amazing cardamom coffee, like collaboration. It's they're going to invest way more in you and put your name on the front of a satchel, like, or whatever those things are called. Like, first of all, it's the best coffee ever. And
thank you so much.
I'm so thankful for it because it's all the ingredients that I would use, but it's something that, you know, when Chris gets up with Bash at 5 a.m. and I get up at 6 and there's like, just, you know, maybe an ounce of coffee left. I'm like, forget it. I'm making Jeanette's coffee. Like, it's not going to have the end of your
so
pot.
Sweet.
but like, that's what people should be striving for. Authenticity, vulnerability, sharing the things that like maybe weren't going so great, but being able to share the beautiful stories, like your birth stories and knowing that this is your real life. So it's going to ebb and flow. There are going to be years like 2020 where you feel like you share something and people are mad about it, or you don't know how to share anymore. You have to change, you know, and then kind of going back to who you are as a person and feeling the confidence to be yourself again and be open again. And having Adidas come in or brand partners come in and say like, we still believe in you. We still love your message. We still love your authenticity and being a part of it, which is really like beautiful to watch. It really is beautiful to watch.
Thank you.
And it's real. Like it is not the highlight. You give the highlight reel, but you really give the real too, which I like.
Thank you.
If anyone's trying to be an influencer, you have to follow Jeanette and dive deep with her and her family because it's beautiful to watch. It's really beautiful.
Thank you. And I really appreciate that. I know that one day this won't be a platform like it used to be, but you know, at least I loved it and I enjoyed sharing and doing what I do, not just for me, but for my family, this community, because I know that without the community, I wouldn't be able to do the things that I do. But if this ever were to go away, I know that I have hands and legs and I'd be able to work anywhere, you know, and I hope that a lot of people know this because it's like, yeah, one day this won't be anything anymore. And that's okay. I know that. What I'm doing right now is just investing in myself, in my family, and in these brands that I love so much, but also knowing that I might be able to go teach again, yoga, or like go work at the ecology center. I swear, I always tell AJ, I'm like, what if I didn't do Shut the Kill Up and I just worked at a farmer's market? Like that's what I would be doing, and no shame in that. I think it's a beautiful thing.
I think people would buy your food if you sold it at a farmer's market too. It's so like I could reach through my phone half the time and be like, just give me some of that.
That's so sweet.
If people are following along with you, what are some of your favorite recipes that you've made over the last few years that you think are like just the OG go-tos that people, if they wanted to start trying some of your food, should make?
I mean, to be honest, my honey glazed salmon is seriously the best fish I've ever had. And I'm a huge salmon lover, and I've had salmon in a lot of places, but this just honey glazed salmon is incredible. I definitely think you guys should make that. And also any of my smoothies, the thickness with your protein.
Thanks, girl. I mean, you do and you always put a little hip hop music to the pour or something. Absolutely. And it's just like froyo.
It's just not the same without it,
It's so good.
Yeah. And sweet potato fries, you can't go wrong. Or the peanut butter and jelly sweet potatoes. Just, there's so many things, with vegetables. I just hate how people sometimes will say, don't you get tired of eating the same food? And I'm like, sorry, there's no new vegetable coming out. Or I just eat what's in season and it's delicious. To me, I get so excited for my ecology center runs or any sort of just cooking. It's the best.
It is. It is. Once you get into it. And I think the pandemic has given people hopefully a little more time at home to use the slow cooker, to throw something in their oven in between Zoom calls, it doesn't have to be fancy. Roast up some veggies. I mean, a little fat sauce with that, a dip here and there, you're good to go. Well, I'm absolutely going to try your honey salmon. That sounds delicious. And anything that will make Chris eat salmon, I'm game for. So maybe when we release this podcast episode, I'll make it that day.
Yeah.
Oh, Jeanette, I seriously love you. Thank you for being here.
Oh no, thank you. This was so fun.
I'm so glad. And you did it while you had homeschool kids at your house. You didn't have to hide in your closet.
Nope. I can't even hear them right now. So that's good.
It's great. We didn't hear them. And even if we did, it would have been fine. So we have one last question before we end our podcast. And that is, what does body love mean to you?
It means to look at yourself in the mirror and think that you are just beautiful inside out, and to really feel that and feel empowered by that, and not let any other noise in your head make you think otherwise.
I love it. Such a beautiful story of resilience, and
thank you.
Just such a humble, hardworking woman. And your boys are so lucky to have such a secure attachment in you. You see their confidence and their wild little nature, like little Cole. Keep that kid alive. He's too cute. Just beautiful to watch. So why don't you tell everyone where they can follow along with your beautiful family and where they can get all your delicious recipes?
You guys can follow me on Instagram at Shut the Kill Up or on my blog, shutthekillup.com. Thank you.
Thanks, Jeanette.
Thank you for listening to Be Well by Kelly. Please subscribe to the show on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen to podcasts. Learn more at bewellbykelly.com and follow me on Instagram at bewellbykelly. I would love if you picked up my books, Body Love and Body Love Every Day. They're sold on Amazon and at all major booksellers.